Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is Luke chapter 9, verses 59 through 62. And he said unto another, Follow me. But he said, Adonai, suffer me first to go and bury my father. Yahshua said unto him, Let the dead bury their dead. But go thou and preach the kingdom of Elohim. And another also said, Adonai, I will follow thee. But first let me go bid them farewell, which are at home, at my house. And Yahshua said unto him, No man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of Elohim.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, keep your hand on the plow.
Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold.
Yahshua said, No man can put his hand to the plow, looking back for the kingdom of Yah. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. Don't you wonder what you're gonna wear or eat? Yah is our provider, why can't you see? Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. People gonna talk about you much as they please. The more they talk, stay up on your knees. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. My way gets as dark as night. I know Yahshua will be my light. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. When I get to Zion, gonna sing it loud. Be nobody there to run me out. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on. My robe is gonna fit me well. Earned it fighting at the gates of hell. Keep your hand on the plow. Yahshua said, No man can put his hand through the plow, looking back before the kingdom of Yah. Keep your hand on the plow. Hold on. Don't you wonder what you're gonna wear or eat? Yah is our provider, why can't you see? Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. People gonna talk about you much as they please. The more they talk, stay up on your knees. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on. When my way gets as dark as night, I know Yahshua will be my light. Keep your hand on the plow and hold on.
Hold on, keep your hand on the plow.
Please hold on.
Hold on, hold on, hold.
Hold on.
Hold on, hold on, keep your hand on the plow.
And
Hold on.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have favorite love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby ye are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim, for Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yahweh be praised. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us. But today it is in Lithonia, Georgia. And for all those who send things in, we will make sure that you have the corrected address. But praise Yahweh for allowing us to do these things. A lot of times you go into businesses and they'll have a little sign because it's dusty in there because they trying to add on, and they'll have this thing that says "Pardon our progress." It may be a little uncomfortable right now, but we're trying to make things better, and we're still at it. We got enough for us to get in and be comfortable, but we don't want to stay comfortable. We want to keep adding. We want to keep making things better. We want to keep putting in what we can do to beautify the house of our Elohim. But whenever we do make those strides to do some things, we do run into a few brick walls here and there because we have been in this corporate America scheme, and a lot of times when we get ready to deal with our Father, we have a tendency to try to merge those corporate America thoughts into the house of Yahweh. Now, there are some things that business-wise make sense, what corporate America does, but you have to make sure that when you cross that line, that you don't end up insulting your Elohim, because you're going to pay for that. And even when we have ideas about things, it really does matter how we present those ideas. Even if we were in a situation where we, get angry about something, the word tells us to be angry but sin not. It matters how you disagree. It matters if you pull an individual aside and have a conversation, or if you decide to jump on top of the table, kick all the stuff off. You sure better have some authority when you decide that you're going to step on a table and turn it over. You sure better have the authority if that's the way that you're going to disagree. So today's sermon is entitled Unincorporated Yahshua. Now, Yahshua told us to make friends with the unrighteous mammon, but also said you cannot serve Elohim and mammon. So although we may have friends that operate a certain way, we must never forget who we serve and that his culture directs our dealings in all the ways of our lives. We were admonished not to envy the oppressor and to choose none of his ways. But we see the prosperity of the wicked and fashion ourselves after them. We go to the same schools, pledge the same type of entities, and mimic their business structures, hoping to be as profitable as the heathen. Will you set your eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings and fly away as an eagle toward heaven. And what will become when Caesar's riches have departed? Will we then become bitter at the righteous because the wicked took back their substance? Set your heart on Elohim, and the desires of your heart shall be given you. Let's begin today's sermon in 2 Kings chapter 12. 2 Kings chapter 12, and we're going to read verses 1 through 16. See, the first thing we have to understand is things that may be okay in the heathen setup. Those things will get you some serious backlash when dealing with Yahweh. But then likewise, there are some other things that you wouldn't dare to do when dealing with a corporate America setup. And you'll find that Yahweh will do exactly the opposite of what we would call so-called sound business decisions. Let's begin 2 Kings chapter 12, and let's start that at verse 1.
In the 7th year of Jehoash began to reign. And 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Zebiah of Beersheba. And Jehoash did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh all his days, wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. But the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and burnt incense in high places. And Jehoash said to the priests, all the money of the dedicated things that is brought into the house of Yahweh, even the money of everyone that passes the account, the money that every man is set at, and all the money that comes into any man's heart to bring into the house of Yahweh, let the priest take it to them, every man of his acquaintance, and let them repair the breaches of the house, wheresoever any breach shall be found.
All right, so you then find, dealing with kingdom things, there's still a situation where we're going to have to deal with some money here, but how does how do we deal with those things? Keep reading.
But it was so, that in the 23rd year of King Joash, that the priests had not repaired the breaches of the house. Then King Joash called for Jehoiada the priest and the other priests, and said unto them, why repair you not the breaches of the house? Now therefore receive no more money of your acquaintance, but deliver it for the breaches of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the priest consented to receive no more money of the people, neither to repair the breaches of the house. But Jehoiada the priest took a chest, and bored a hole in the lid of it, and set it beside the altar on the right side as one comes into the house of Yahweh. And the priest that kept the door put therein all the money that was brought into the house of Yahweh. And it was so. When they saw that there was much money in the chest.
Now, how much money?
Much.
Okay, much money. So they don't even have an account for how much money. They just know it's much. I don't think that's a real number. I don't think you can go to the bank, and say, I got much. When they say, how much you want to get out? I want to get out much. I don't think they have that. But see, you're going to find a different operation when these people have been tried, tested, and proven. Go ahead.
That the king's scribe and the high priest came up, and they put up in bags and told the money that was found in the house of Yahweh. And they gave the money, being told, into the hands of them that did the work, that had the oversight of the house of Yahweh, and they laid it out to the carpenters and builders that wrought upon the house of Yahweh.
All right, so they're distributing this money for the work that needs to be done. Go ahead.
And to the masons and hewers of stone, and to buy timber and hewed stone to repair the breaches of the house of Yahweh, and for all that was laid out for the house to repair it. Howbeit, there were not made for the house of Yahweh bowls of silver, snuffers, basins, trumpets, any vessels of gold or vessels of silver, of the money that was brought into the house of Yahweh. But they gave that to the workmen, and repaired therewith the house of Yahweh. Moreover, they reckoned not.
Do you know what reckon mean? You hear a whole lot of old men say, I reckon. Well, that's an accounting term. How moreover, they reckon not. Listen, keep going.
Moreover, they reckoned not with the men, into whose hand they delivered the money to be bestowed on workmen, for they dealt faithfully.
Okay, so they had already proven themselves. They know who these men are, how they operate. They said, we don't need an accounting of the money. Go do your job. Take this money and go fix this house. Go ahead.
The trespass money and sin money was not brought into the house of Yahweh. It was for the priests.
All right. Now they separate this bottom part. The trespass money and the sin money was not brought into the house of Yahweh. It belonged to the priests. When you have people attempting to watch things, they don't really know what to watch because they don't know which part belongs to whom. So then they count everything and they're counting wrong. Let's go to John chapter 12. I think I need my stand, brother. I feel like I need a booster seat. Y'all gotta work with us. We all. It's first time sitting with this little desk that I got behind. What's that little wooden stand that was right here? Yohanan chapter 12, and we're going to read verses 1 through 8.
Verse 1. Then Yahshua 6 days before the Passover came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, which had been dead, whom he raised from the dead. There they made him a supper, and Martha served, but Lazarus was one of them that sat at the table with him. Then took Miriam a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Yahshua, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Then says one of his disciples, Yehudas Iscariot, Simeon's son, which should betray him.
All right, so this the betrayer. Go ahead.
Why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor?
So the betrayer is the first one to say something about the money. The first one to say something about the money. And Yahshua knows that this is the betrayer. Okay? Everybody else does not know that this is the betrayer. Because Yahshua wouldn't say. He said, one of you shall betray me. Everybody want to know, well, who is it? No. It's not time. Understand something. Yahweh allows certain things to go on for a while because it's not time for it to be dealt with. Sometimes you look at yourself and say, why didn't I figure this out? Why didn't I see this? Because he didn't want you to. It wasn't time. Yahshua knows who he is. He has the perfect opportunity to say, shut up, devil. But he does not. Why? Because he still has a job to do. But he makes sure that he doesn't prevail in this situation. But he still doesn't reveal to everybody who he is. Go ahead.
This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag and bear what was put therein.
So now understand. Okay, now we got to back up. Because Yahshua knows that he has something else. They know that he's a thief. Now, in corporate America, the last thing you would do is put the thief in charge of the bag. If he's in charge of the bag, that means he has the bank account. The last thing you would do in corporate America is do that. That is a corporate America no. But it's a Yahshua yes. So, oh, you steal? Here go to my account. I mean, my father owns everything. So, I mean, I'm not going to lose nothing. So, but I want to see if you're going to take something. So you're going to get your key to the lake of fire. But anything that's taken from me, my father going to give it back. So I'm not going to take a loss. As he said, do you not understand that I can ask my father and he will send legions of angels? I ain't going to lose nothing. So go ahead. You steal. Here's the money back. Now let me see what you're working with. See, when you're dealing with kingdom things, Yahweh will turn around and put you in power of something that everybody else say, no, you shouldn't have. Why? To test you. Let's see what you're going to do. Let's see if you've conquered your little itching hand. Go ahead.
Then said Yahshua, let her alone, because the day of my burying has she kept this.
Let her alone. Now, he could have went a lot of other places. He didn't have to just go and stay at let her alone. This is when we utter all our mind right here. Once something doesn't go right, then we say everything we know bad about that individual. Yahshua didn't do that. Let her alone. He spoke about the goodness about what she has coming. He doesn't deal with who this is that's talking about this money, but they're only talking about the money because they want it. They're not really concerned about the poor, but pay attention to how the disguise is presented. Go ahead.
For the poor always you have with you, but me you have not always.
For the poor always you have with you, but me you have not always. Here it is. Yahshua goes up on a higher level. But he knows exactly who he's dealing with. Exactly who he's dealing with. And we have to, think back now. So, have not I chosen you 12 and one of you is a devil? He has diplomatically dealt with this situation. He didn't call him a devil. He didn't do any of those things knowing who he was. This is our example. Now, we won't know all of the things that Yahshua is going to know. But what we're doing is giving people an opportunity to repent. But what people do with that is to believe that they are not discovered, so they keep going more and more and more. That's what we have to watch out for. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 8. See, the thing that ends up being confusing to us is we believe that everybody will be happy with your growth. This is the thing that kind of catches you off guard. That you believe that everybody is going to be pleased with your growth, that they're pleased that you're coming up on another level, and they actually have the worst problem ever with you, because now they have to renegotiate how they deal with you. All the things that they might have been able to get away with or do, now they have to renegotiate and say, well, I'm not going to be able to do that to them now. Now they have this at their disposal. 1 Samuel chapter 8. And let's start that at verse 1.
And it came to pass, when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of the firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second, Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes and perverted judgment.
Now, it took me a while to really understand why there was so much anger here. But this becomes clear over time why Yahweh and Samuel was angry. Go ahead.
Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah.
Now, if all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together, guess what was happening before? There was a whole lot of talking going on beforehand before they could gather together. So understand what happens when you're having, person to person to person being talked to. They're making an attempt to gather Israel to come and make this push. This just doesn't happen. All of Israel just don't decide on one day, hey, let's go over there. No, somebody is going and recruiting all of these people in whatever way they're using. And then once they got enough people, they then make the push forward. Go ahead.
And said unto him, Behold, you are old, and your sons walk not in your ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations.
Now, read verse 6. Read verse 6.
But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto Yahweh.
So right away, the servant of Yahweh is displeased. Now, if you don't know any better, you think, okay, Samuel was displeased because his kids ain't in charge. But you have to pay attention to what's happening right there. At this very moment, because it's not going the way that they want it, Israel wants a change in the business structure. The business structure at this point is Yahweh dealing with prophets who he sends his messages to. What the children of Israel are presenting is a kingship. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean for Yahweh? Okay, so if Yahweh is going to deal with, excuse me, a situation of prophets and priests, or just prophets, and he called them out of whatever tribe he's going to call them. That means he now, let's say this is Israel. He can use any one of us to get ready to lead. But once we decide that, you know what, no, we want a kingship. Well, let's say me and Kish, the only people in here who are bloodline kin. Once he chooses one of us, now he has to keep in this line. Now he can only pick from these two. He just lost the ability to pick from all of you. They changed the business structure. Samuel heard it and was automatically displeased. He ain't talked to Yahweh yet, but he heard it and it didn't sound right. See, we have to be careful. Make sure, be careful how you hear what you hear. They didn't just ask for more prophets. You know that's all they had to do, right? They didn't ask for more prophets. They asked for a complete change in the business structure to suit their needs. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people and all that they say unto you, for they have not rejected you.
You see that? You see what Yahweh says? That you're just the one feeling this. It's really me that they have an issue with. Go ahead.
But they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them.
Right. They don't want me to reign over them. They want their corporate heathen setup. See, Yahweh says, I pick and choose men. They say, no, we want them to come out of a house. Because guess what? If they can pick the ones coming out of the house, then they can do some pre-manipulation. You understand? I understand. Now, I can look in the house and say, all right, he got 2 sons. All right. Now, you befriend that son, and I'm going to befriend this son. Now, whichever one of them become king, we friends with the rulership. But if Yahweh picks a man and he picks them when he wants to pick them, guess what? They don't know who to pre-manipulate. They may be all over here working with him, and Yahweh said, give me a little man over there in the front. Give me a little man. I'll take a look. Because let me tell you something about Yahweh. He loves to pick the not the underdog, but the dog under. He loves to go way down. While everybody, you got a guy in here got a PhD, and Yahweh like, give me the dude with the GED. Give me him. Give me him. Watch what I do with GED. Watch what I do. Come on, Jed. Come on. Watch what I do with Jed. You got your PhD. Watch what I do with Jed, though. Watch what I do with Jed. That's what Yahweh like to do. But understand something. If he can only pick from one family, understand, that family is going to be the most educated. They're going to be the most, because they're going to have all of this pomp and circumstance available to them. So he says, no, it's me that you had a problem with. It wasn't him. It was me all along. Go ahead.
According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto you.
So do they also unto you. They are the same as they have always been. And if you pay attention and you start to look at things, you'll find Jake ain't changed at all. They doing the same thing they was doing out in the world. Go ahead.
Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them.
You see what you have to do with Israel? Israel has power with Yahweh. He says protest unto them. All right? But go ahead and give them what they ask for. Go ahead.
And show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of Yahweh unto the people that asked of him a king.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen. And some shall run before his chariots.
Mm-hmm.
And he will appoint them captains over thousands and captains over 50s, and will set them to air his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers.
Right. You're going to find that when Israel has their mind set on something, ain't no convincing them otherwise. So they like to tell you about having a conversation. They don't really want to have no conversation because they already set in their mind. And Yahweh already knew. Go ahead and tell them, because I need them to be chargeable. I need for righteous judgment to be placed upon them. So go ahead and tell them. They're not going to listen to you, but I need you to tell them. See, this is where you have to learn that when Yahweh gives you a job, you don't know what successful is. We think that when Yahweh sends us to talk to somebody, successful would be that person listening to you and says, yes, I understand. I will change my ways. That's what you think successful is. Successful to Yahweh may be say everything. Now turn around. Now I'm finna kill everybody in the building. What? You were successful. I needed you to give them warning. But if you don't say this stuff exactly how I'm telling you to say it, then you leave a loophole for them to crawl out of. Go ahead.
And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants.
Right. He gonna tax you. Yahweh said, well, I gave you, you paid a tenth. That's what I asked you. I'm telling you, he gonna hit you on top of that. Go ahead.
And he will take the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants.
Wait a minute. So we had 20% tax now? See, the 10% we owe to Yahweh. Now the king want an extra 10. But this is what you want. Because you want to change the business structure to something that's like what they see in the world. Go ahead.
And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young man and your asses and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and you shall be his servants.
There we go, another tenth. But Yahweh said, wait a minute, you did choose something other than me, right? You already had me, right? No. Now he's starting to take the tenth of things. Wait a minute. So I got the tenth of this. Then I got the tenth of that. But I already gave Yahweh a tenth of everything. Well, then, hey, we starting to have compound interest. You wanted to change the business structure, didn't you? All right, welcome to corporate America. Go ahead.
And you shall cry out in that day because of your king, which you shall have chosen you, and Yahweh will not hear you in that day.
You gonna cry for the business structure that you requested, but I'm not gonna hear you. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, "No, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations."
You see what? You see us? That we may be like the other people. This is what we want to do. We don't want to be a peculiar people unto Yahweh. We want to be just like everybody else. Go ahead.
And that our king may judge us, and go out before us, and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Samuel, "Hearken unto their voice, and make them a king." And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, "Go you every man unto his tent."
Now, to the people, it may look like they have been profitable because they got what they asked for. But profitable is a very, very hard thing to discern because it may look profitable in the beginning. But in the end, all of those things that he told you, they're going to come. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 13. Chapter 13, and we're going to read verses 1 through 14.
Verse 1. Saul reigned 1 year, and when he had reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose him 3,000 men of Israel, whereof 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash and in Mount Bethel, and 8,000 were with Jonathan in Geba of Benjamin.
Now, remember now, if you go back, when Saul was anointed, he started prophesying. He started doing stuff, and people was like, "Oh man, this is amazing." Okay, so right now it's been 2 years. Go ahead.
And the rest of the people he sent every man to his tent. And Jonathan smote the garrison of the Philistines that was in Geba, and the Philistines heard of it. And Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, "Let the Hebrews hear." And all Israel heard say that Saul had smitten a garrison of the Philistines, and that Israel also had in abomination with the Philistines. And the people were called together after Saul to Gilgal. And the Philistines gathered themselves together to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots, and 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which is on the seashore in multitude. And they came up and pitched in Michmash, eastward from Beth-aven. When the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, then the people did hide themselves in caves, and in thickets, and in rocks, and in high places, and in pits.
All right, so this battle don't look favorable. And plus, the Philistines are strange-looking people. Go ahead.
And some of the Hebrews went over Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead.
Now this is us. Soon as things don't work out for us, we take off. We've been having folks that's gonna move to Africa for 200 years. Every time something go wrong, I'm going to Africa. Every time something go wrong, we're gonna go over here. All right. Go ahead. When Yahweh said he was going to punish us, you're going to run into a deeper punishment running from the punishment.
Come on now.
Every time somebody run from a punishment, what happened when your daddy give you 2 weeks and he catch you outside?
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you what it's going to be when you come back in here. No, don't come back in now. No, finish your game. Finish your game. That looked like you was winning. Look like you was winning, but I tell you what, when you come back inside, I guarantee you, you're losing. I guarantee you, you're losing. We've been handed this thing over and over. You got our folks just swear Liberia was gonna be that place. As soon as we get afraid, we go run off into Liberia. Man, it's safer in the projects. What did they do? They took everything. Because y'all don't think the people smart enough to understand what's going on. They say, okay, this is where they're going. I'm going to infect it. Don't you understand that when the whole part of putting us in an area, they know one thing. We can mess up all the things in that area because all of them went to that place. Don't you think the enemy got sense? So did you think they were going to forget when you went to this place? They do the same things all over the world. They don't just do it here. So you go all the way over to somewhere and it looks profitable. Then they come and change one law. What happened when we were in Egypt? They said there were too many of us. They changed one law. Everything about our lives changed. You take everything you own and go somewhere else, listening to somebody else's pipe dream. They change one law and your entire life has changed. And what you gonna do then? See, Yahweh has a serious issue. He said, they have run down to Egypt and have not asked at my hand. We ask everybody but Yahweh. We done got financial reports. We done did soil tests. Did you do a Yahweh test? Did you ask your father, is this what he wants you to do? And understand something. You know, people don't even really research how, you know, America is wide this way. Africa is big this way. Do you know that there's varying climates on this continent that is very, very different from one end to the other? The religious part is very, very different from one part to another. You may be around some people who look just like us, make 3 turns, and now you in a bowl of soup. But we don't do enough research to figure out where them soup people at. See, you need to know where all the soup people at. At least you find yourself delicious. See, we don't ask those kind of questions. No. You need to know. Go ahead, brother. Where we at?
Verse 6. When the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, then the people did hide themselves in caves and in thickets and in rocks and in high places and in pits. And some of the Hebrews went over Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. As for Saul, he was yet in Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. And he tarried 7 days, according to the set time that Samuel had appointed.
All right, now, 7 days is set time that has been appointed. The meeting has been set. Go ahead.
But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him.
Now, there's a reason why when we say we're going to do something, we say, Yah's will, I'm going to be there on the Sabbath. Because we understand that we don't control nothing but our mouth. And sometimes we ain't in control of that either. But it is my intention to be there on the Sabbath. But does somebody then take that as their heathen business structure and say, you didn't come at the time appointed? Go ahead.
And Saul said, bring hither a burnt offering to me, and peace offerings, and he offered the burnt offering. And it came to pass that as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him, that he might salute him.
Now, as soon as he got done, all right, because see, now he's trying to, you know, the people are trembling. And now he's trying to move. He's agitated and he feels like I need to do something. So now he crossed the line. Because now what he's doing ain't his job. Go ahead.
And Samuel said, what have you done? And Saul said, because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and that you came not within the days appointed.
You see how he blamed that on him? See, it's your fault. Because you came not at the days appointed. Go ahead.
And that the Philistines gathered themselves together at Michmash. Therefore said I, the Philistines will come down now upon me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto Yahweh. I forced myself, therefore, and offered a burnt offering.
I forced myself. Go ahead.
And Samuel said to Saul, you have done foolishly. You have not kept the commandment of Yahweh your El, which he commanded you. For now would Yahweh have established your kingdom upon Israel forever. but now your kingdom shall not continue.
Now, he knows this in year 2. See, you have to let Yahweh do what Yahweh does. Oh, it's many years before he takes his kingdom. But he know in year 2, your kingdom shall not continue because you can't follow instructions. Go ahead.
You know, when you look at this, Saul is from Benjamin. He said you would have been established forever.
Right.
So the kingship would have came out of Benjamin.
It would have. You got it. Go ahead.
Verse 14, but now your kingdom shall not continue. Yahweh has sought him a man after his own heart, and Yahweh has commanded him to be captain over his people, because you have not kept that which Yahweh commanded you.
Now, when he picked this man after his own heart, then that man was from the tribe of Judah. The first king was after Benjamin, like you just said. Now, had he done it, Benjamin would be the king tribe. So we don't see. Yahweh says, I picked me a man after my own heart. But what if he had to pick one of Saul's sons? Now he's got to try to figure out which one of them can I even deal with. See, we don't understand the power of what it is we ask for. Now, the children of Israel demanded a change in the business structure of Yahweh's house. They in turn got an Israelite on the outside, but a heathen man within. At the mere delay of Yahweh's servant Samuel, King Saul arrogantly asserted himself into the priesthood. But remember, this is what Israel asked for. We must also remember that Yahweh told Samuel, it is not you that they hate. It's that they don't want me to reign over them. Let's go to Luke chapter 19. See, we have our own ways and thinking about picking men. Remember when Yahweh just said, he said, I've chosen me a man after mine own heart, a man that will perform all my will. Even Samuel went in, and Samuel was picking these muscle-bound brothers who look like warriors, and Yahweh picked the smallest, prettiest, poem-writing, harp-playing shepherd boy. He says, I don't look upon men the way you look upon men. So the difference in what we want and what Yahweh wants varies greatly. But you can't tell us our eyes ain't the best thing going. Luke chapter 19, and let's read verses 12 through 14.
You know, brother, before we do that, even in that situation, sometimes you can get set in a way because of what you've seen before. Because you got to think Samuel was also the one who anointed Saul. And he looked at what Yahweh picked the first time.
Right.
And he figured, well, this is how Yahweh
There it is. Like, you sure he looking for a strong, tall, what it say about Saul? He stood
above the people.
About 2 foot or something like that above everybody else. So, you know, this a warrior looking fella. So surely he not going to pick this little pretty boy. What are you picking him for? So you're right. He got caught up in what he saw before. Go ahead.
Verse 12. He said, therefore, a certain nobleman went into a far country
Now, this Yahshua talking. Go ahead.
to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come.
All right. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Go ahead.
But his citizens hated him.
All right. His citizens hated him. Go ahead.
And sent a message after him, saying, we will not have this man to reign over us.
Okay, so we first see they hated him, and they sent the message. Go ahead. Jump to verse 27.
But those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me.
All right, so Yahshua is making a point. All right. Now, Yahshua is talking about himself when he says they hated him. If you notice, the haters didn't tell him. They sent a message, meaning that they told other people that they hated him and didn't want to be under his leadership. Silent rebellion sometimes hides itself as humbleness. Sometimes the rebellion is right before you, but gets presented as happenstance. Okay, let's say we set a meeting time of 8 a.m. and someone gets there at 8:20. it can be observed that they were late and something might have happened. This is why we say, Yah's will, we will be there. If that person is the same amount of late every day, something could not have happened every day and for the same duration of time every single time. This could be the vanity of making an entrance, or it could be the quiet rebellion that they will not follow the leader and anything that he asks. Because the leader asked to be present at 8 a.m., the disobedient servant will never be there at the appointed time. This is to show his disdain for the leader. Now, if one was truly desiring to run Yahweh's house like a corporate business, that person would never be late. In corporate business, 15 minutes early is on time. And if you're on time, then you're late. Let's go to John chapter 2. See, if we're going to pick a model, you got to roll with that model. You can't pick it and then keep jumping out of it as it suits you. If you're going to try to run it like a corporate business, then run it like a corporate business. When it starts, if we say we're going to start at 1, don't get here at 1:20. Keep that same thought all the way across. Because see, now you're dancing on the line of the Pharisee hypocritical thing, where you're going to deal with it when it suits you. Then when it's not suiting, you're going to jump back. No, ride it all the way out. Let's go to John chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 13 through 16.
Verse 13. And the Yehudi's Passover was at hand, and Yahshua went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep, and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables. And said unto them that sold doves, Take these things hence, make not my Father's house an house of merchandise. And his disciples remembered that it was written, The zeal of your house has eaten me up.
Now, if you're going to go through the point of flipping over tables, you sure better make sure that you have the authority to do those things when it comes right down to it, because you're going to make some serious enemies. But what Yahshua is automatically saying here, look, we're not going to run this like a corporate business. Y'all going to get this stuff up out of here. I don't care what y'all using it for. This is not that type of business. So you got to know where that line is. And he has the zeal of his Father's house has eaten him up. He said, no, that ain't being done here. You got to think about, man, there are some Hebrews that have done all the things. They monetize their videos. They do all of those things. We didn't do any of those things. We don't have a whole bunch of things for sale. We don't have all of those things. But I tell you what, when we get down to something, Yahweh provides for us. I ain't saying we ain't never going to sell nothing, but I tell you what, we ain't never going to do nothing that's going to cause us some issues. People say, oh man, you got all these videos, you should be making a lot of money. Yeah, and while I'm talking about remember the Sabbath to keep it holy, then some commercial come on that's absolutely tearing up everything that we just taught. Here it is. We sitting here talking about clean and unclean, and then a commercial come on the internet. Do you ever have that not so fresh feeling? What? But we're going to do that so we can make some money. Absolutely not. So you got to have and draw a line where you're going to deal with this business. Yahweh takes care of our business. I've given people the blueprint. It's up to you whether or not you believe in it. You take care of Yahweh's business and he going to take care of yours. Okay. Go ahead.
Luke chapter 15.
Luke chapter 15.
And verse 11.
Luke chapter 15, and we're going to start at verse 11.
Verse 11. And he said, a certain man had 2 sons.
Uh-huh.
And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that fall to me. And he divided unto them his living.
All right, so he want his now. He don't want to wait. He want his inheritance right now at this present moment. Now, what happens next is not about business structure. It's about mentality. Go ahead.
And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living.
He wasted his substance with riotous living. So sometimes when somebody is presenting something to you, you have to ask, okay, did you try this and did it work for you? Okay, so it didn't work for you. And we can still learn off of things that didn't work for somebody, but you have to be honest. You have to say, look, I set my business up like this and, you know, it failed, blah, blah, blah. Now, that's something we can learn from. You just want to throw something out, but you don't give any background. No. So this setup that you want, if I do this, will it make us stronger? If so, what happened to yours? Then you find out. It doesn't matter how you set up your business if you have riotous living. If you waste or run down your business chasing harlots, it don't matter how you set up you can be incorporated, you can be LLC, but you're going to be OUT because you done spent all your money chasing harlots. Yeah, you had a good business plan, but you didn't have a good business mind.
Hey, man, I was young when I did that, man.
Hey, bro, hey, but your kids got to pay for what you was out there chasing because now they don't have. Because all that was spent chasing harlots. See, I tell people, look, it's not like I made a lot. I'm not like incredibly intelligent. What I've tried to figure out is how not to lose what I have. Because I noticed something. I had friends who sold drugs, and I had friends who worked. And I looked, and at a certain point, they at the same place. Then I figure out, my friends who working, they have one thing in common. They don't keep losing their stuff. See, the people who have riotous living, they keep losing things. They get a whole bunch of money, but then they get busted. They get a whole bunch of money, then they do something this. Boom, that's gone. They get a whole bunch of stuff, then this is gone. Then they enter into bad covenants. Get divorced, all this get taken. They over here, the house gone. All of that. When you don't have riotous living, that little bit that you have just keeps adding up. It keeps adding up. And when you look up, you have all these things. It's not that you got all of these things at one time. It's not that you were, rich. You just got to figure out how to not lose your stuff. And I don't care what your business plan is. If you don't learn how to possess your vessel, if everything looks desirable to you, you are definitely going to lose everything that you have. Because see, what money does is it makes you see things that you didn't see before. See, when you got Toyota Camry money, that is the best car available to you, and that's all you think about. Soon as you get BMW money, all of a sudden a whole line of vehicles is now in your mind. You never thought about a BMW before. What happened? You got BMW money. Now, after that, it increases and you thought, oh my God, I got Lamborghini money. Now you start researching Lamborghini. You couldn't even spell Lamborghini before. But now because you have that kind of money, now you're desiring something from that pool. The flesh is never satisfied. You got to make a decision. Look, this is as far as I'm going to go with this. All right? I got this, I got that. That's all. This is as far as I'm going to go. I can't keep changing my desire every time my tax bracket increases. Go ahead.
You said you have more money, you start desiring things that you wouldn't. When you have more money, it's the opposite too. Things that wouldn't desire you start desiring you.
Oh, hey, you better say it. You better say it. Hey, man, when I first got out of DeVry, I was working on some little computer terminals. Man, I was getting paid $5 an hour. You know, and this is how they tell you when you first got out of college, you know, they like, this is for your experience. Yeah, you gotta be so experienced, you gotta be ready for the world. Come on, all right, come on down. Now all you gotta do is do this. Now I'm in my little hot Buick Regal with no air conditioning. I'm sweating, carrying all these computer terminals from place to place, right? But what's happening is I got to borrow my stepdad tie. I got a couple shirts, but he got a whole bunch of ties. He's a school teacher, right? So although I don't make but $5 at the time, brother looked like $22.50. You understand? So I'm saying, but this was a very, very strong learning experience. Now I look like $22.50, and I'm going into offices. I mean, I got suspenders on. You know, hey, my stepdad was laid out, right? So all of a sudden, and he's happy. He's like, my son is going into my closet. He's like, this is amazing. He would never wear anything that I had. So I'm shopping in my daddy's closet. I got some amazing ties, right? So I'm going into these offices. Now I ain't got but $5. I got enough to get a quick trip hot dog for lunch, all right? So, but I'm going into offices. Now the offices are filled with women. All of a sudden, I learned something very valuable. They are on me like white on rice. They say, oh man, this is the best thing going here. Cause they swear, they say, oh, you just graduated from DeVry? You in here with a suit and tie? Oh, look at how you look. Oh, they all over me. All over me. I was broken the joke. After that, I ended up getting an installation job. Real job now. Now I'm at $22.50. All right. But I got on a uniform. I got on a little khaki shirt, little khaki pants. You know, I don't look like much. I didn't get that attention from women no more. I said, oh, now this is valuable. Oh, thank you for that, Yahweh. Thank you for this. All of a sudden, you know, I realized I wasn't Mufasa. Before I was Mufasa, I walked and the antelope just died. they just died. I didn't have to hunt nothing. You ever seen that thing when the lion just, but I didn't even have to, boom, already dead. Come get me, Mufasa. Done deal. I said, well, look at how things change. Now the problem is, I have way more money than I had there. All of them thought I had money then. All right? And I was ashamed to put them in that hot Buick Regal with no air conditioning. All right? So I was very careful. Look, I can't get your number, sweetie. I can't, because when I reach outside to open the door, you're going to have a problem. But it was very interesting to see how things changed. All of a sudden, I became desirable in a different way, but then you find that eventually I saw the different class of woman. Because no, they all didn't come. But then I start running into the intelligent ones. And you can see them and they taking inventory. That's a Fortune 500 company truck you got up there. That's nice. That uniform is starched. You look well fed too. Look here, won't you take down this number? Okay. You learn it's a different pool. You get in a different pool. All right? But you are very much so right about that, brother. Go ahead, where we at?
Verse 14. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine.
So now he done fell from grace, but it was his own doing. It wasn't because there was a business structure problem. It was because he could not control his vessel. Go ahead.
And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger?
This is what we don't do. Right here. This is the real humbling part. Where he realizes, I have made a mistake. But you know what we'll do? Still keep pushing the old way. We'll push it until all the wheels fall off. You got to realize, you know what? I've been doing this wrong. How many hired servants do my father have, and I'm out here doing this? So what kept you from going back to your father? He didn't want to humble himself. And whenever you got to say you humble, that's when you know you're not. See, the action says when he came to himself, then he made a move. Go ahead.
I'll arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I've sinned against heaven and before you.
He already knew what he was going to say. He already knew what he had done. Go ahead.
And no more worthy to be called your son. Make me as one of your hired servants.
All right, so he has gotten to this. Now jump down to verse 29.
And he answering said to his father.
Now this is when the other brother who has not wasted his substance. Listen to what he said. Go ahead.
And he answering said to his father, Lo, these many years I do serve you. Neither transgressed I at any time your commandment. And yet you never gave me a kid that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this your son was come, which has devoured your living
He
with
divided
harlots,
your living with harlots. Go ahead.
you have killed for him the fatted calf.
So then, how did he lose his money? How he lost his money? It wasn't because he had bad business structure. It's because he couldn't contain his vessel. I don't think they have a business plan for vessel containment. I mean, they have a thing called, it's called a zipper. Zip it up and leave it up until you get back home. Go ahead, brother. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 17. Deuteronomy chapter 17, and we're going to read verses 1 through 13.
You should not sacrifice unto Yahweh your Elohim any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any ill-favoredness.
Now, your work, what you sacrifice unto Yahweh, are the things that we do. The things we do around here. The things that we put out on the internet. That is your sacrifice. If you do that thing and you do it, there's now a blemish in your sacrifice. Now, there's some blemishes sometimes that happen. We're in a new facility. Hey, we're going to have some things that we, might say, okay, man, this wasn't right here when it should have been over here. Hey, that's understandable. Yahweh gives you that time. But a year down the line, if we're still having the same problems, Yahweh going to deal with us. Go ahead.
For that is an abomination unto Yahweh your El. If there be found among you, within any of your gates which Yahweh your Elohim gives you, man or woman, that has wrought wickedness in the sight of Yahweh your Elohim, in transgressing his covenant, and has gone and served other gods, and worshipped them, either the sun or moon, or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told you, and you have heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel.
So there's sometimes that you hear something, and it comes to you. Now it says you got to make diligent inquiry. Then you got to pick up the phone. See, a lot of times other people they might have been talking all over town. That's your turn. Now you got to make diligent inquiry, and you got to pick up the phone. Hey, Shalom, how you doing? Hey, look, have you had any run-in with such and such and such and such? Oh, I wasn't gonna say nothing. Oh, all right, next. Hey, how you doing? Shalom. Hey, have you had a situation? Yeah, I saw him over there howling at the moon the other day, but I wasn't gonna say nothing. And you realize as you keep making these calls, and you're like, oh man, this is a pretty big issue here. That's what diligent inquiry is about. Go ahead.
Then shall you bring forth that man or that woman which has committed that wicked thing onto your gates, even that man or that woman, and shall stone them with stones till they die.
Right, and the only way we stone a person that they die is you have to cut them off. As it is written, cast them out to Satan so that they learn not to blaspheme. That they may repent and be able to enter back into the shepherd's tent. But they got to be able to repent. First of all, you have to be able to know what it is you did wrong. And understand that. And you can tell when somebody is trying to explain to you how they didn't do wrong, that you know they ain't there. Go ahead.
At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death.
You know, look, they will only do one thing in front of one person. And they think if I didn't do it in front of 2, I don't have they don't have 2 witnesses. But then they turn around and do something else in front of somebody else. Hey, bro, that's witness number 2. And then that's over here, that's witness number 3. And then that over there, that's witness number 4. You did it in front of all of those people, but not at the same time. But see, Jake think they got loopholes. So if 2 people didn't see him at that particular point, they think they got away with it. No, we're just gonna bring all of them in the room. Bring all of them in the room. Well, we got 6 witnesses. So they all saw something. Now you can be the smoothest talker in the world. I want to see you talk them 6 people and tell them they all didn't see. Y'all all must have been drinking. But were they drinking on different days? Because all this didn't happen on the same day. Right. Go ahead.
The hands of the witness shall be first upon him to put him to death.
See, this is why we don't want to be a witness. We like to stay neutral. See? And this is how evil keeps going. Because you got these scared witnesses who let people say strange things to you. Soon as it's said to you, it should end that day. They should still be talking. And the phone should be ringing. And they be like, I'm sorry, brother, was this rude for me to just pick up the phone while you was talking? Well, yeah, man, I was trying to tell you, you know what I'm saying, about what Yona did to me. Oh, well, that's quite a coincidence, because that's who I'm calling. I got him on speaker. Go ahead, finish saying. No, go ahead, go and finish. He can hear you. Hey, Yona, you there? All right, good. Go ahead, brother, say it again. I guarantee you they won't play that game with you no more. I guarantee you they won't play that game with you no more. You are the reason that they do this. Stop letting it happen and it won't happen. Go ahead.
And afterward the hands of all the people, so shall you put the evil away from among you.
That's how you put evil from among you. You don't be nice to evil and just be is that the evil? Is that the evil? The evil, you just need to go on evil. No, that ain't how you get it away. It ain't gonna leave like that. Go ahead.
If there arise a matter too hard for you in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within your gates, then shall you arise, and get you up into the place which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose. And you shall come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days.
If there arise a matter too hard for you in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within your gates, then you shall arise and get you up into the place which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose. Go ahead.
And you shall come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show you the sentence of judgment.
So then you go to the priest, the judge, who's in charge, and they will show you the sentence of the law. But what if the problem that you have is with the priest? Go ahead.
And you shall do according to the sentence which they of that place which Yahweh shall choose shall show you. And you shall observe to do according to all that they inform you.
You know something? When we really think we are right about something, we're not hiding and ducking behind trees. We ain't going to one person at a time. I'm gonna tell you something, but don't tell nobody. Let me tell you something. When we think we right, we stand on top of the mountain and we yell it from the rooftop because we believe we right. When you get pulled behind a building and somebody's whispering in your ear, they don't even believe they right. If they believe they right, y'all wouldn't be behind the building talking. Go ahead.
According to the sentence of the law which they shall teach you, and according to the judgment which they shall tell you, you shall do. You shall not decline from the sentence which they shall show you, to the right hand nor to the left. And the man that will do presumptuously, and will not hearken unto the priest that stands to minister there before Yahweh your Elohim, or unto the judge, even that man shall die. and you shall put away the evil from Israel.
And all we have to do to put away evil is cast them out to Satan and pray that they learn not to blaspheme. Go ahead.
And all the people shall hear and fear and do no more presumptuously.
Now, the part that you have to pay attention to, and all the people shall hear. What you find is a lot of times people want private dealings so that nobody knows what has happened unto them. Do you understand that? See, this is the difference between corporate America and Yahweh. See, when you're going to deal with an unincorporated Yahshua, he's not playing those business games. So what they will do is they will bring you into a closed door meeting, and corporate wise, nobody can talk about it. You just see the person walking out of the company with that box with all their stuff in it. And then you say, what happened to James?
No, it's against company policy to talk about what happened to James.
But Yahweh's company is different. He said, all the people shall hear. So as they carrying the box out, Yahweh said, hey, everybody look at James. Hey, y'all make sure y'all look at James. Don't you steal no more. He ain't gonna steal no more. Y'all make sure y'all look at James now. See, Yahweh don't operate the same way that the corporate business structure. You are not allowed to talk about what they had in the meeting. Yahweh said, make sure everybody know. Why? So they won't do presumptuously anymore. They're gonna learn from that individual. But how they gonna learn if you keep everything quiet? Did you finish that?
Yes.
All right. Let's go to Numbers chapter 12. See, that's the only time Yahweh pull out the megaphone. I mean, how can you follow a law if you don't know what it is? How can you learn what not to do if when people do it and they get dealt with, nobody says anything about it? Then that means other people might be walking right up into that, not knowing. You do understand that when you do that, this is going to happen. How they going to know that? You didn't tell them that was going to happen. So, truly, can it be their fault after that? This is why when somebody proclaims himself to be wise, you expect certain things. No. I expect you to know certain things because you told me you were wise. Numbers chapter 12, and let's start that at verse 1.
And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moshe because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married.
Now, understand why they're angry at him. They're angry at him because of a personal decision that he has made. Go ahead.
For he had married an Ethiopian woman.
All right, Ethiopian woman, Cushite. Go ahead.
And they said, has Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moshe?
Stop. Do you understand that now, because they are angry about a personal decision that he has made, they are now attempting to change the business structure? The first statement says that they were angry about the Ethiopian woman. Verse number 2, have Yahweh only spoken only by Moshe? Now let's change the business structure. We need another leader. We need to implement an opportunity for more people to get in here other than Moshe. They're angry with him about a personal decision, but they want to change the business structure now because of the personal decision that they didn't like. Go ahead.
Has he not spoken also by us? And Yahweh heard it.
Now, Yahweh heard it. Okay? You have to understand something now. In this whole situation, Moshe didn't hear it. Most of the time, the person being talked about doesn't hear it. Somebody got to bring that to that individual. Moshe didn't hear this. It was brought to him. Go ahead.
Now the man Moshe was very meek.
Now, he was very meek. But did she see him as meek? See, it never does occur to us that how we see us is not necessarily how other people see us. Go ahead.
Above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And Yahweh spake suddenly unto Moshe and unto Aaron and unto Miriam, Come out, you three, out of the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. Mm-hmm. And Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam. And they both came forth. And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak unto him in a dream.
Now, if you notice, Yahweh really didn't deal with the Ethiopian woman Mary thing. He dealt with the part of when they decided that they were going to mess with his house. And they were going to mess with his oil. He don't come down and say, you know, if he wanteth to sleepeth with her. He ain't touched none of that. He dealing with what they put their foot on. Now, you put your foot on my house because you didn't like a personal decision. Now, let me show you what I'm working with. Go ahead. Verse 7.
My servant Moshe is not so, who is faithful in all mine house.
My servant Moshe is not so. If there is a prophet, I'm going to speak to him in dreams and visions. Go ahead.
With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of Yahweh shall he behold. Wherefore then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe?
Why were you not afraid to speak against my servant? Did you not believe that my anointing was on him? Did you not believe that I had him set to do a job? Did you not believe? Why were you not afraid to speak against my servant? Go ahead.
And the anger of Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle. And, behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous.
Right. So you have the cloud came down, spoke, and then the cloud left. Normally, when the cloud and the fire move, the congregation move. The cloud moves specifically for this situation. See, there's a whole lot of things. We focus on one part about Miriam and all of that. We miss that whole part where the spirit just moved. No. I'm not going to be over the whole place. I'm going to go right here. And I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to deal with this business. And Yahweh said, I heard it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what's funny is you go back to verse 2 and it says, and they said. So both of them had to say, but somebody was much deeper in than somebody else.
Right. Yahweh knows the levels. See, when you got older, this is where where my elder used to say what men are won over by the conversation of their wives. They don't really respect the feminine power of a woman and how powerful it is. So here it is. You're talking about big sister. Big sister has the ability to kind of manipulate the other siblings. Here it is. Aaron's a grown man. Yahweh goes straight to Miriam. He know who the ringleader is. He know who is Captain Manipulation in this situation. He knows exactly who to go deal with. Go ahead.
And Aaron said unto Moshe, Alas, my master, I beseech you, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead.
Now, he said we. So he admits that he has done something wrong. Go ahead.
Of whom the flesh is half consumed when he comes out of his mother's womb. And Moshe cried unto Yahweh, saying, Heal her now, O Elohim, I beseech you.
Now, both brothers have asked Yahweh to heal their sister. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, If her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that, let her be received in again.
Right. What people don't understand about being shut out the camp 7 days, you have to understand, we're talking about an enclosure of all of these various tents, everything. All right? This is where your protection is. See, stray animals and all of those ravenous beasts are on the outskirts. They don't come too close to where a whole lot of people are. So once they put her on the outside of that, understand, you're talking about this time a woman to see a bug and take off running. It's a lot more than bugs outside that gate. If all you get is a beetle, you consider yourself winning. No. It's some strange animals out there. And Yahweh didn't put her out one day. He let us stay out there 7 days. And at night, when you can't see nothing but strange eyes glowing in the woods. See, for you to learn not to do something, it needs to be traumatic enough for you to know. See? So this is why he says, don't be lenient with them. Because how are they going to learn if it's not traumatic? These are the things that we remember. Traumatic events. We remember some good events, but you know the events we don't forget, the traumatic ones. When you swinging that hammer and wasn't paying attention and touched your finger, you remember that. You're gonna remember that one. Yahweh said, no, I'm not trying to make this light. This needs to be so traumatic that they remember, so that they'll never do it again. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got to even consider, don't think for a minute that this didn't bother Moshe, because he's the one asking, hey, heal her now.
Right. After he the one getting talked about. But ain't that how you have to deal with Israel? You have to pray for the very ones who dogging you out. Go ahead.
And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days, and the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. And afterward the people removed from Hazeroth and pitched in the wilderness of Paran.
All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 19. Deuteronomy chapter 19, and I want to read verses 15 through 21. See, we have to know how we're supposed to deal with things. So when things get off, you recognize that it's off the path. Deuteronomy 19, and we're going to read verses 15 through 21.
One witness shall not rise up against a man for any lawlessness or for any sin, and any sin that he sins. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before Yahweh, before the priest and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition.
The judges shall make diligent inquisition. Go ahead.
And behold, if the witness be a false witness and has testified falsely against his brother, then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother.
All right. So when we make our diligent inquisition, we find out that a falsehood was presented against a brother. All right. So now, then as we read verse 19, then shall you do unto him as he has thought to have done unto his brother. Go ahead.
So shall you put the evil away from among you.
Now, putting the evil from among you means you have to deal with it. You might think you're being lenient, but what you're doing is leaving evil amongst the children of Israel and you're letting it spread. It's like you saw a rash on your arm, but you ain't do nothing to it. Now, that little rash that was right at your wrist is now going all the way up your forearm. What happened? You didn't deal with it. It keeps spreading. And you keep touching it and then touching other parts of your body. Now the rash is going all over the places. Now it's on the other arm. How I get on that arm? Because you touched that arm with the other arm. You didn't deal with it. Now it's spreading. Go ahead.
And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you.
You see that? The children of Israel must know what happened, so that you may never reach the evil. When people have decided that they're going to do what they're going to do and they're going to be what they're going to be, that's them. But the rest of Israel needs to hear, so they can say, you know what? I ain't gonna do that. I ain't saying I'm gonna be, I ain't gonna do nothing, but I ain't doing that. I don't, whatever that is, I ain't doing that. Go ahead.
And your eyes shall not pity.
Your eyes shall not pity. And that's what we get in sometimes, and we're trying to convince, somebody, well, this is this and this is that. Why your eyes so much pity? See, now you're falling back from Yahweh's word. feelings, move it out the way, and just read the word. Your eye shall not pity. Sometimes we think, that brother being too hard. You might want to read Yahweh's words and get your feelings up out of it. Your eye shall not pity. Wrong was done. It has to be dealt with. Go ahead.
But life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
All right. So now, what is the punishment for a lie? As we read, the punishment for a lie is whatever the liar intended for the brother or sister that they lied upon. But what if you can't discern what the person intended for the lie? Or if the intention does not apply to you? So let's say that a brother lied to someone to hide the romantic intentions that he had for a sister. How does that apply if the brother who was lied to does not have any romantic intentions outside of his covenant? We then have to look at what the lie caused. If the lie caused a man to lose respect from other brothers because of the lie, then the liar must suffer the same fate. Also, the brother harmed must be restored. We then must ask ourselves, how do you restore a man's name after it has been defiled? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 6. See, this is why because when you start dealing with things and you deal with, those written things aggressively, people then start to accuse you of being in a cult. This is why you got to go back to the instructions. Because you find out something about Jake. Jake don't like instruction. Jake don't like instruction at all. So you got to go back so that other people understand that it's instruction. Understand, you may never reach Jake. Then you just got to let Jake go. But the other people who have heard must understand. Leviticus chapter 6, and we're going to read verses 1 through 7.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, If a soul sin and commit a trespass against Yahweh, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship, or in a thing taken away by violence, or has deceived his neighbor,
Or has deceived his neighbor. Go ahead.
or have found that which was lost.
He's covering everything, by the way. All right? Because we have a problem with, well, I did this, but I didn't do that. No. Deception is deception. Whatever way you deceived your neighbor, you made them to believe that it was one thing, it was something else, it was deception. Go ahead.
And lies concerning it, and sweareth falsely.
Lies concerning it, and swears falsely. It is amazing the arrogancy where people will lie directly to your face and hope that you don't say, no, man, that ain't right. I was there, remember? Go ahead.
And sweareth falsely in any of all these that a man does, sinning therein. Then it shall be, because he has sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently away, or the thing which he has deceitfully gotten.
What he took violently away. If you violently take away a man's name, you got to figure out how you going to fix that. See, the punishment don't fix that. And this is what we keep trying to let people off the hook. No. The punishment was for you. You still got to figure out how you going to fix that. What you think restitution is? Ain't no just my bad, dog. Go ahead.
Or that which was delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which he found, or all that above which he has sworn falsely. He shall even restore it in the principal, and shall add the fifth part more thereto.
Oh, now look at that. Wait. So, you got to restore what you took and add the fifth part. Now, if you destroyed a man's name, how you going to restore it and add to it? There's certain things that we need to think about before we do them. See, now people say, well, how I do that? Well, you figured out how to defile it. Now let you figure out how to fix it. Go ahead.
And give it unto him to whom it appertaineth, in the day of his trespass offering. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto Yahweh, a ram without blemish out of the flock, with your estimation, for a trespass offering unto the priest. and the priest shall make an atonement for him before Yahweh.
Now this is where it gets interesting. Verse 7, and the priest shall make an atonement for him before Yahweh. Now the priest is making atonement for him for the sin that he committed against his brother by lying or being deceitful. But what if it was the priest who he did it to and he got to make atonement for? Sometimes we put ourselves in some real bad situations. Go ahead.
And it shall be forgiven him for anything of all that he has done in trespassing therein.
All right, so then we have two things then that we have to look at. The part where we have to figure out in restoring something. The punishment that one receives does not restore the individual. Adding the fifth part, restoring what was took. And you can't just restore what was took. You have to add to what was taken away. And some of these things might have happened over time. So then that makes that extremely difficult to add the fifth part to it because it was so vast in what was done. Our next thing that we have to look at is the rush to resolution. See, what happens is when you're getting ready to deal with something, and a lot of times there's a rush to resolve it, and you think that this is humbleness. This is not humbleness. This rush to resolution. What this rush to resolution is, I want to hurry up and get this over with. I need to hurry up and get this over with. No. Wait a minute. Now the same individuals are now trying to hurry up and get it over with, but that's not for you. That's for them. Because they don't like the uncomfortable feeling that is happening while all of the things are being brought to the forefront. So this rush to resolution is really an evil thing because the same individuals have operated in silent rebellion. They have stretched all these things out. Weeks, months, years. Sometimes people be angry and waging a silent war for decades, and you don't even know it. But then once it's brought to you and you begin to deal with it, then it's, okay, so what's the resolution? Now you want to resolve it? You have silently waged a war for a considerable amount of time, but now you're rushed to resolution now? I always tell people, why don't you give the person as much time as you had? How much time did you give yourself? Okay, so you've been doing this for 7 months. That person deserves at least the same 7 months. That's how many months it took you to do all of these things. But now you want to resolve it in 7 minutes. No, you owe them the same amount of time that it took you to defile their name. That's something that we have to consider. Let's go to Exodus chapter 22. And if we know these things ahead of time, this is what makes us hesitant to get into something. See, what makes me hesitant to stick a fork in that socket is because I done got hit by daddy electricity before. Now, when you get hit by it and it make you scream like a girl, you know inside, I'm going to be very careful next time I touch that. I'm going to be very careful. But something ends up happening. Sometimes Yahweh has to bring people to be examples unto Israel. Because Israel, y'all know, we got a book, right? But y'all know we want to watch the movie. So Yahweh bring a movie. It's a live movie though. It bring a live movie and he sit in front. He said, I know you read this, but you didn't really comprehend. So I'm going to let you watch this in action so that you learn. You better not do this. Now, the individuals in the movie may never learn. But it wasn't for them. The people in the movie don't do the movie for themselves. They're doing the movie for somebody who's watching. Yahweh is doing that for you, not for them. Exodus chapter 22, and we're going to read verses 16 and 17.
And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. If her father utterly refuse to give her on to him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins.
Now, you may look at that and say, why are we reading that if we're dealing with business? We see a situation of a marriage here. We don't see that this is a business transaction. This is business. A man is going to get a woman out of another man's house. He's taking a worker out of his house. He then has to provide something to that man. So herein lies where the word entice. There are certain words that you need to get a definition of so that you understand why is this a wicked business transaction. Brother, let me get you to read the definition for entice.
From H6601, patah, a primitive root to open, that is, be causatively, make roomy, usually figuratively in a mental or moral sense, to be causatively, make simple or in a sinister way.
All right, in a sinister way, go ahead.
Delude, allure, deceive, enlarge, entice, flatter, persuade, silly one.
So when he enticed the woman, he deceived her. Now, that could have been by not actually giving her all the information. Because y'all know what we do when we on an interview. We put on our interview face. So then the enticing is the deceptive part of the business transaction. So then we have to deal with something. In here it says, if a man entices a maid that is not betrothed and he lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. The father can utterly refuse. Why? Because the father felt like, you know what? You tried to cheat me out my dowry by enticing her, by deceiving her, by alluring her. And you have to watch what ends up happening here. So he got the woman through deceit because he enticed her, he allured her, he deceived her. He then attempts to do the right thing, but the father has the right to refuse. Now, in corporate America, if you can prove that the person entered into the agreement by deception, then it voids the contract or the covenant. The definition of entice has deception in the definition. Today, a brother may say he has game, but what he has are all lies, carefully crafted to allure his victims. He uses lies to build his house, then uses the culture of this word to hold his family in the lie. It's the corporate American way. Gained by deception, but cemented with truth. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 22. See, people will use you to set up their foundation and then come against you after they set it up. Jeremiah chapter 22. Jeremiah chapter 22, and we're going to read verses 13 through 19.
Woe unto him that builds his house by unrighteousness.
Woe to him that builds his house by unrighteousness. Many a times I've seen individuals come in, lie so they can put their house together, then turn around and use the word to trap the women in it and say, you can't leave because we married. We married, we in the word. You can't leave. But got her there through lies and deception. Then here it is, you try to help somebody, and then they turn around and bite you. Go ahead.
And his chambers by wrong, that uses his neighbor's service without wages, and gives him not for his work. That says, I'll build me a wide house and large chambers, and cuts him out windows, and it is sealed with cedar and painted with vermilion. Shall you reign, because you clothed yourself in cedar? Did not your father eat and drink, and do judgment and justice, and then it was well with him?
Right. You need to understand why it was well with him. Because he did right. Go ahead.
He judged the cause of the poor and needy, then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, says Yahweh? But your eyes and your heart are not but for your covetousness, and for to shed innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence to do it. Therefore thus says Yahweh concerning Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Yehudah. They shall not lament for him, saying, Ah, my brother, or Ah, sister. They shall not lament for him, saying, Ah, master, or Ah, his glory. He shall be buried with the burial of an ass, drawn and cast forth beyond the gates of Jerusalem.
All right. Let us hit a conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Psalms chapter 37. Psalm 37. And we're going to start that at verse 1.
Verse 1. Fret not yourself because of evildoers, neither be you envious against the workers of lawlessness.
Right. And this is what gets us into trouble, because we see those workers of lawlessness, and then we want to change our situation so that it's like theirs. But then when you look at them, what? You slowly gain doing the way that Yahweh has it set up. Now all their lawlessness, it didn't even profit them. Because, as it say, riches find themselves wings and fly away. That's why it says a little that a righteous man has is more than all the many things that the wicked possess. Go ahead.
For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in Yahweh and do good, so shall you dwell in the land, and verily you shall be fed. Delight yourself also in Yahweh, and he shall give you the desires of your heart.
I keep giving out the formula, but people are afraid to follow the formula, or the formula ain't working fast enough. So then they get to take care of their business. They don't want to take care of Yahweh's business and then wait for him to take care of theirs. So then they go in to try to take care of their business. That's why they're going to build it through lies and then try to cement it in the truth. Use Yahweh culture to hold a lie up. Go ahead.
Commit your way unto Yahweh. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth your righteousness as the light, and your judgment as the noonday. Rest in Yahweh, and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who brings wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon Yahweh, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yes, you shall diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plots against the just.
The wicked plotting against the just. The just don't plot against the wicked. The just don't have time to be trying to figure out what to do with the wicked. But the wicked sit there and plot against the just. I'm going to go and I'm going to say this to this brother. I'm going to go and say this to this sister. I'm going to go over here and say this. That's what the wicked do. The people who are attempting to be just, they're trying to do something for Yahweh. They don't spend time with all that mess. But the wicked have an ample amount of time on their hands. Why? Because they're not doing any work. My elder used to say, look around and see if you can see something that your hand helped. If you don't see nothing, you got too much time on your hand. See, even if you give an offering, you can look and say, you know, I helped those lights stay on right there. You got something. When you don't have anything, what you doing with all that time? What you doing with all that substance? See, that idle mind is the devil's workshop. You learn that you hear people talking about all these things. This is why we say, and Priest Kish was real aggressive with people. All right, y'all doing all this talking, let's put together a documentary. You notice that there's some talkers that they can talk nothing but wisdom. Hey man, let's go on and put it together. Let's put together a documentary. Let's go ahead and get this out to the people. Nothing ever happens. Why? Because all they want to do is talk. Man, get the scriptures. Let's get some graphics. Let's go ahead and put together something. Go ahead.
And gnash upon him with his teeth. The Adonai shall laugh at him, for he sees that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that a righteous man has is better than the riches of many wicked.
The little that a righteous man has is better than the riches of many wicked. They might think they have all of these things. They ain't got nothing. Like Yahweh said, Yahshua says, you believe that you are rich, but you are poor, wretched, and miserable. Go ahead.
For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but Yahweh upholds the righteous. Yahweh knows the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of Yahweh shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume, into smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borrows, and pays not again, but the righteous shows mercy and gives. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by Yahweh, and he delights in his way.
Check that out. The steps of a good man are ordered by Yahweh. See, the wicked plots against the just. So what the wicked are doing is watching the ordered steps, and they trying to mimic them. You get a tent, they got to get a bigger tent. You get a car, they got to get a better car. You get a house, wait a minute, they can't afford a house. Well, they got to try. Well, and if they can't get one, then let's try to take yours. The wicked plot against the just. The just don't plot against the wicked. The just trying to take care of Yahweh's business. The just steps are ordered by Yahweh. They just following the just. Because how else can you plot against the wicked man unless you follow in his steps? Because Yahweh directed him. But while you trying to attack him, that means you walking his path. Because you got to keep up with him to plot against him. You're walking the path that don't even belong to you. Go ahead.
Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for Yahweh upholds him with his hand. I have been young, and now I'm old. Yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lends, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil and do good, and dwell forevermore. For Yahweh loves judgment and forsakes not his saints.
Listen, Yahweh loves judgment. He loves judgment so much he publicizes it. Go ahead.
They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaks wisdom, and his tongue talks of judgment. The law of his Elohim is in his heart, none of his steps shall slide.
When the law of your Elohim is in your heart, you don't need to wear fringes everywhere. So you find that some folks have fringes everywhere they go. They should have put them fringes on their lip. Then maybe they wouldn't have told all those lies. Should have put that fringe with an alligator clip right down the tongue. When the law of your Elohim is in your heart, what you need external things to tell you, don't bear false witness. It should have already been in your heart if the law of your Elohim is in your heart. And how many times have we heard this? Well, I thought it was true when I said it, so if I thought it was true when I said it, then there's no more that it's a lie, because when I thought it was true, even though it was a lie, what the hell are you talking about? How many times have we heard, think back, ain't we done heard something like that before? I think, I feel, and I believe. No. You didn't think that was true. You just spread falsehood. Go ahead.
You know, brother, we all read the stuff in this book over and over and over again, and it's cool to read, and some people want to regurgitate it and remember it, but It's a difference when Yahweh puts you in these trials and in these situations, and for you to actually walk in it. We've been through a lot of this stuff. I mean, you can remember, it's been ages now. I had a brother come to me, and he's sitting down talking about sock this, sock that, da 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 da. Okay, you mind if I get socked? What it took you? How long it took you to get where we were at? 30 minutes, 45 minutes? I said, hey man, I'm tired of you talking. Let me get him on the phone. But it went from getting him on the phone to, now we all need to sit down and have this conversation. But see, that's what we do, and then we want to ask ourselves is, why these people keep calling me? Why these people? Because you not nipping it in the bud and say, nah, stop talking to me. Let me get the other person. Let me get the other party.
That's when it stopped. That's when it stopped, right at that moment. Well, you just dial it on and put it on speaker. Let them talk about 4 minutes. Then tell them, oh yeah, he heard you on the phone. What? I told you to stop doing that to me, didn't I? Didn't I tell you to stop doing it? I asked you nicely, twice. You kept doing it. Well, he heard the last 5 minutes. Don't stop now. Don't stop now, because I'm sure he's ready for his turn. That's how you take care of that business. When a brother said, why come y'all lodging about this wall on the Sabbath? Come you enlarged at this wall one more time and I'm going to lay hands on you. They ain't send no secret message. He needed that message to go out to everybody. Make sure you tell your friends. I'm handing out life lessons over here. All right? Come lodge at this wall one more time. You're going to learn something today. He didn't need that to be quiet. He needed all of them to tell. And it says they came and lodged. Because what they were doing, getting Israel to sin. They're lodging about the wall on the Sabbath, presenting things for Israel to buy. He said, no. You're presenting a provocation to my people. Come over here again and I'm going to show you something. This is my last time talking to you. The next time, I'm going to talk with these things. That's how they got them to stop bringing in things to be sold on the Sabbath. Not by being nice to them and saying all these niceties. How about we just hug? No, you're going to learn. Don't bring that in here. Go ahead.
The wicked watches the righteous and seeks to slay him.
You see that? I remember you having to cut a brother, and the brother said, I studied sock. Before I can say something, Kish said, you should be studying your book. What the hell you mean you studying him? And that was the same one that we heard that thing. I feel, I believe, and I thought it was the truth when I said it. So it's not really that, it's a lie. Right. Go ahead.
Yahweh will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on Yahweh and keep his way, and he shall exalt you to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, you shall see it.
He will exalt you to inherit the land. Listen, wait on Yahweh, keep his way. When was that the old play? 10 years. Wait on Yahweh, keep his way. He shall exalt you to inherit the land. I told y'all years ago, I said, look, I ain't worried. Somewhere, Yahweh fixing up my house for me. Now, we wasn't talking about here. We were talking about somewhere else. But Yahweh was working on this for us. Have y'all looked at the fine amenities that we got up in here? Let me roll around in folly for a second. Look at, there's a KitchenAid in there. Some of y'all don't even know what a KitchenAid is, because if you paid attention to the amenities, we got our ceiling fans everywhere. Somebody had to put that in there. We got a kitchen the size of somebody else's house. What happened? Yahweh had them people expand it for us. He said, my people gonna need this. No, make that bigger. Yahweh was measuring. They were saying, we're gonna make it 12 feet. Yahweh said, you know what, make it 16. Because my people gonna like this. Yahweh already had this in mind. Then he made us do it. It wasn't no thought we should do such and such. No. The people changed our lease from yearly to month. Yahweh spoke. Time to take care of business. The average time a house stays on the market now is 30 days and it's gone. This house was on the market 230 something days. Everybody that tried to get it couldn't, because it was ours. He wouldn't let nobody else get it. And everybody came in and they said, oh man, there's so much work we got to do in here. Oh, hell no. We can't do that. But Yahweh like, I know somebody. I got me a man. Did everything that we needed to do. And here we are. Wait on Yahweh. We didn't have to go out and try to become the Hebrew Kardashians and try to sell things on the internet. We didn't have to do none of that. The whole time, he was having somebody renovate our place for us. All of these things were done for us. We just had to go in and fix it. So when it says, wait on Yahweh, he'll come through for you. You gotta learn how to be still and not be antsy and try to make everything happen yourself. It's gonna happen on his time when he want it, not on your time when you want it. Go ahead, brother.
You know, brother, when you walk in the right way, it'll amaze other people. The scriptures say we're supposed to be a peculiar people onto the nations, right? We're peculiar unto him. When I bought my personal house, this was 2010. Anybody remember what the market was doing in 2010? It was down. Mm-hmm. I got into my house. The man across the street came across and said, I need to know who's being fed in a time of famine. Those were his exact words. Mm-hmm. Who is being fed in a time of famine?
And then what Yahweh said? Didn't he say that? During the famine, you gonna eat. But see, you got other people angry about all the things that they lost, and they take that out on you. That's not my problem. I've been taking care of my Elohim's business. Wasn't nobody there when I almost lost my personal house because I decided to start a church. I didn't pay my mortgage for 10 months. I know some of y'all got houses. Y'all didn't sign a mortgage before. How long did it take for them to take it?
3.
Okay. Explain to me why it took 10 and I still didn't lose it. That's what happened when Yahweh tests you. He drag your testing out. You know when you wake up and it's a sheet of paper on your chest and a number 2 pencil? Oh, damn. He tested me. It's on, baby. 10 months. And I got to go home and look in the eyes of my family, and they're looking at me. And I'm looking at them. And they looking at me. And I'm looking at them. But I ain't got nothing to tell them. But I know in their eyes, they like, man, are we going to be homeless? Because he wanted to be a man of God. But then when it comes full circle, all of a sudden, things are all of a sudden different to some people because we now are on. Now, this is verbatim. You had the little place in the storefront. You know, that was that. But now, you're property owner. Now things got to change. To some people, we just became important. Newsflash. Damn it, we was always important. Damn it, we was always that. Like my elder said, y'all might not know it, but we're a pretty damn big deal. I'm glad some of y'all can't see who all is on the internet. Because they don't get to infect those people. But we didn't just become somebody because we got property. We always been servants of Yahweh. And we're going to keep doing what we've been doing. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 35. I've seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together, the end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of Yahweh. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And Yahweh shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him.
Right. So then our power is to wait and trust in our Elohim. To stop trying to see what all that we can do with our hands and step back and we can watch and see what he can do with his. And I guarantee you, what he can do with his hands is way better than what you can do with yours. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.